Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. Firstly, the news, the amount of news today was absolutely mind-blowing. It was kind of insane. So we've got a lot of that to cover. That was the kind of the collapse portion of the title. So we only get so much room to put a title, and I can agree with that because, hell, I know I can get long-winded. So we only get so many letters, and so I didn't really have the ability to really give a good name for tonight's show. But I wanted to talk to a video that came out today, and I had already actually had done a video and uploaded it and all that. It's sitting here right on the back end of my YouTubes, but I never did click the public button, and I probably won't because it was a little bit more raw than I wanted to be. My intent isn't really to be raw. My intent is to be realistic. Sometimes some of these prepper channels, they run off at the mouth. And it's frustrating because they don't realize what it is that they are saying. They don't realize what it is that they could be doing, the effect that they could be having. And the most screwed up part of the whole thing is it's all situational. Everything. When it comes to prepping, all of this is situational. Your situation's different than mine. Joe Bob's situation is different from yours. We all have our unique, independent situations. And some of these prepper channels are in a bubble. And they can't see beyond their own situation. And the one in particular I'm talking about, I've came down kind of hard on before, and it shouldn't be surprising that that I need to say something again. So apparently, those individuals that aren't in tip-top shape, those individuals that may be disabled or what have you, apparently we don't even need to worry to prep because we don't stand a chance. Now, those weren't the exact words used, but that was the sentiment. So, the Angry Prepper put out a video today. And he's going through something like a priority list. I've got what I call the Prepper priority list, and he was doing something very, very similar. And one of the things that he put in there was being physically fit, as in physical preparedness. Now, first off, let's peel all the bullshit away right from the top. And I'm trying to be as nice about this as I can. But number one, if you're in a major city like New York City and you got the nerve to talk about how other people shouldn't even worry about trying, man, I've got some news for you. And yeah, I can see why you might want to be extremely physically fit if you live in New York City. But what's the chances of getting out of there? That's what I want to know. In the video that I originally shot, I had mentioned, and I had mentioned that I'm not a betting man, but I would place a bet that my life expectancy in an SHTF situation far out outdoes a life expectancy of even a prepper in New York City. Because at some point you have to look at the situation and go, holy hell, that's a lot of people. So right from the beginning, we need to understand that location and population density is a thing, and until you correct that situation yourself, you probably, I don't know, shouldn't be talking about how others don't stand a chance. What pissed me off is that there are a lot of individuals out there that are disabled or that aren't in the best of shape that have a hell of a lot better chance than most. It all depends on our individual situation. And that's why I think that somebody needs to say something about these bullshit channels. And I'm just calling it for what it is. And believe me, I'm a hell of a lot softer right now than I was in that video. Man, I'll stand behind my list. I will double down, triple down, quadruple down on my prepper priority list any day of the week. And you know what's not even listed on that? Physical fitness. You know why? Because it's not very realistic. It's only realistic to those that have it. But to those that are disabled, how in the hell is that realistic? To those that are out of shape, remotely out of shape, not very realistic. I mean, yeah, I absolutely encourage exercise and doing the things to try to get in better shape. Absolutely. But if somebody right now is setting at 280 pounds, and I'm just saying, somebody's setting at 280 pounds, realistically thinking that they are going to get in an ideal weight by the time that things go really south in this country, is not very realistic. Discouraging them from trying is not the direction that we want to go here. Maybe they don't live in New York City and have to outrun millions of people. They may live in Podunk and only got Jim Bob to worry about, and as long as Jim Bob don't run out of shine, ain't no problem. We all live in unique situations. Every last one of us. So don't ever let any of these prepper channels discourage you because of bullshit they spew out because they don't get it. Unbelievable. It truly is. It truly is. I said I'll stand behind my list. Let me just run through my list real quick. Number 1, spiritual preparedness. Spiritual preparedness. I know there's folks that don't believe. That's on you. Number two, mental preparedness. Now, he had this up high. He was absolutely correct on this. Because you have to keep your stuff together and mentally if you even plan to have a chance. You've got to keep yourself together. But third, and I didn't hear anywhere on his list, oddly enough, was intellectual preparedness. I stand behind this because if you have the intellectual preparedness that high up, you will be able to adapt and overcome a whole lot of situations when you're left with not so ideal solutions to those problems. Brains, yo. Brains. Intellectual preparedness. Doesn't matter all the cool gear that you have if you don't understand it. You know, and I covered that in last night's show. He was the one I was talking about with the solar panels, and I'm sure many people figured that out. Intellectual preparedness. Man, that's going to go a hell of a lot further than even physical fitness. But then lastly is like I believe was his last, was your actual gear. And yeah, that should be your last. Make sure you have that intellectual preparedness because, man, it doesn't matter how physically fit you are. If you're dumb as a box of rocks, good luck. I'm just saying. And I think it's awful crazy to be able to talk shit about anybody when you're a prepper that lives smack dab in the middle of New York City. I don't get it. On level after level after level after level. I don't get it. But just don't let any channels discourage you. You can do, realistically, what you set your mind to. Just work at it diligently. Anyway, other news, there's like I said, there's been all kinds of insane news today. Without going into real far detail, because I don't want to offend the YouTubes, meaning Google, but apparently the young man that was fluid gender or whatever, in Loudoun County, apparently he had been found guilty in one of the cases that he was charged with. So that's a thing. I noticed when reading that article, because it went in, of course, into all the controversy about the letter that was sent to the DOJ and all that. And I didn't realize, but there was a quote from, what is he? I think Garland was his name, and he said something to the effect, and I even defined the word, literally looked up the word, looked up the references to that, because I wanted to be absolutely clear as to what this guy was saying, and he was essentially saying that, you know, parents damn well have the right to speak up, and, you know, Hang on, I'm real quick scrolling off screen to find that because I've got the article here. Because that quote was, in my opinion, kind of important. Let me bring this up here. I think it's at the end, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is what it says. It says U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland has publicly claimed that, and this is his quote, the Justice Department supports and defends the First Amendment right of parents to complain as I don't know if I can say this word, vociferously, I can't say it. I've never seen the word before, but and that's why I defined it. Literally Googled it, and then it gave me like 2 words that I Googled. I just wanted to be absolutely clear of what it meant. And anyway, yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a word to use. Let me do that for you, because that's a hell of a word to use. I'm kind of a word person. If somebody uses a specific word like this, yeah, I will take it for intent. Hang on. Here we go. So here it says, adjective, of course. It says vehement or clamorous. So if you, for those that don't know, if you Google clamorous, it says making a loud and confused noise or expressing or characterized by vehement protest or demands. Well, vehement was another one of the words that said. So let's go look at that. And that is showing strong feeling, forceful, passionate, or intense. And I think it's important whenever folks like this use language like that. It's really important that you define it. You clearly define it. And so in this instance, man, I'll tell you what, I think the parents, I think they have the backing of the U.S. Attorney General, at least on the face of things. So I kind of wanted to make note of that, because that was kind of a interesting thing, and I'm glad at least that was said. Whether or not it in reality have any effect on what's going to happen, there's a lot to come. We've got a whole lot to come yet. We'll take whatever victories we can get, but we can't get complacent. We can't even relax, not for a good long while. Man, things have been pushed so far. It's unbelievable. And in the last 2 years, they have been shoving that line back at us with everything they've got. Now, before that, it was inching. A little here, a little there. And I had said, for those that have been around, those that paid attention at the very beginning of this, like a couple of years ago, right, when we started covering it, which was way before mainstream media or anybody else, not anybody else, but before a lot of people, I said then, watch for this. Watch for this big push, because that I thought that if this virus, got to remember back then, we didn't really know what the hell it was, and all the information that we were seeing was actually being denied by China, and we're talking back then. I said be careful, because if this gets legs, they're going to use it for the big push they need. I said that time and time again. And since that time, we've came a long way backwards, not forward. And I'm telling you, we might not want to give up an inch. They really look to be pushing this. Now, we'll see what comes of it. I was talking to somebody today, and I'm not going to in any way give you a way to actually identify them. I was talking to somebody today, and their child works at a military base for I guess it's a defense contractor. It's a federal contractor. I can't say a defense contractor. I'm not sure. And anyway, obviously they're mandated, and they were pretty much, in the mindset accepting the loss of their job. So apparently they were called in and to talk to the human resources, and they were told that a certain date, yada yada, the drill. So, and their response to HR was, well, I'm not getting it. Apparently they had some little, something go on, like a get-together. I don't remember exactly what it was, but one of the uppers, meaning the folks in charge, I guess contacted them outside and said that, I guess they had paperwork with them, and said, you make sure you fill this out. And it contained religious exemption. And that came from my understanding, one, high up individual in the company. Or at least in their area, whatever. But, so, that's good. But that did raise another question in my mind, because I suspect that this is happening a whole lot of places. So the people that do file these exemptions, regardless of what kind they are, and if those exemptions are accepted by the company, there's one thing you need to understand. They're probably going to be included with the compliant. I just wanted to note that. I'm just saying. The other thing is maybe this isn't going to be as disastrous as initially thought. Or, and I have to throw this out there because I think that there's a high likelihood of this, the government's going to have other ideas. And maybe it's not going to be that easy anymore. So we'll see. We'll see. None of us know. I have a feeling they know exactly what they intend our future to be. But I also know that none of us truly know. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Trying to think if there's anything else that really sticks out in the news. I'm sure there is. I guess I could just head towards the headlines and get started on that. I'm sure there's several things I'll have a few things to say about. Like I said, there was news like constant throughout the day. It was pretty crazy. In fact, I see another headline up there now. Trying not to share too many news articles about the whole Alec is it Baldwin? Yes. Yeah. I'm not into entertainment. I try not to get into that, and I'll speak to it. Let me speak to it. So initially, when it happened, it kind of hit my gut. I mean, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. I mean, it just sucks. And to be honest, initially I felt for Alec Baldwin. Because, here you are, you're an actor, you're doing your job, somebody hands you a prop gun. And after a while, I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Just simply because, I've got enough brains to know about how to handle guns, how to treat a gun, how to act with a gun. I don't care if I was acting in a role or not. Man, if I was acting in a role, and that role involved me handling a firearm, I really, honestly, I don't even care if it's a fake firearm. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to make sure it's a fake firearm. I'm going to make sure that there's no harm going to be caused. And if it's a real gun that's supposed to have a blank in it or whatever, or if it's not supposed to have anything in it, I don't care. You can bet your ass I'm going to rack that thing open and take a peek. Or if it's a revolver, I'm gonna take a look. I am not gonna rely on anybody's word. Nobody. Because that is not what a responsible person handling a firearm does. Period. End of discussion. That is not what a responsible person handling a firearm does. I don't care if you're an actor. I don't care what you are. If that's a firearm, you should know enough about the use of it before it's even in your hand. And then go from there. But one of those things that should be done is that firearm should be checked. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what the circumstances are, you check that firearm. So after thought, it's like, no, there's no excuse here. There is no excuse. And in my opinion, it is clear negligence. My opinion. I know there's a million opinions out there, but I think it's pretty clear negligence. And it's horrible. It truly is. It truly is. And it should go to a lesson to those that want to ban firearms. That look, what's dangerous isn't the firearms. It's, for one, people that have harmful intent with a firearm. I mean, we can talk about that another time. But also the carelessness of some individuals that have them. So maybe we should look to, the Actors Union or something like that, and maybe get some rules involved that, maybe actors should have to go through a firearms course like they demand all of the normal people do in order to handle one. Maybe they should have to go through a course too. And as long as they listen to what they were taught in that course, they would never have to worry about shooting somebody on set. Because they would have checked the weapon themselves. So yeah, I guess I'll weigh on that for a moment. For a little bit, I felt sorry for him. For a little bit. And it sucks. It does. The situation sucks. But responsibility is responsibility, especially when it comes to something like a firearm. Well, anyway, beyond that, I guess let me do some headlines. If I can find right screens here. Okay. Gonna start. No, they're all from this morning. That's right. Sorry. All right. Starting off, Texas governor signs bill requiring student athletes to compete according to their sex at birth and not gender identity. I'm telling you. And you know, all of this was part of that line that I was talking about that has been shoved back. And there are individuals that have had it, and they're starting to push back on that line. A Blue Origin unveils futuristic sketches of orbital station as Jeff Bezos hopes to reimagine living and working in space by 2030. Let's see. 2 killed in Idaho shopping mall shooting. Responding officer injured in shootout as suspects' motives and identity remain unknown. And there was an officer shot and killed today in the St. Louis area here on the Illinois side. And apparently, I don't think it's in my headlines, but apparently there was a stolen vehicle. He was approaching a stolen vehicle. And, I don't know if there was a shootout or if, meaning back and forth, or if the suspect just shot the cop. I don't know what happened. All I do know is that they apparently arrested the suspect, so that tells me that he's not dead. And the officer died later of his injuries, but just crazy. But the initial crime was stolen vehicles, so crazy. And I think about that, and it's just like, man, this is crazy. You're in a stolen car, and that's your reaction. That seems kind of stupid to me, but that just makes no sense. Let's see. Nigeria tries to contain rise of crypto by launching its own digital currency. Oil prices will remain high for years to come. Says oilprice.com, I guess. Brexit has been a catastrophe for the UK, says EC Internal Market Commissioner, amid fuel shortages and reports of empty shelves. Oh, so Brexit is being blamed for this now, huh? Interesting. China unlikely to allow Australian coal imports despite mounting energy crisis, says analysts. Elon Musk now worth more than oil giant ExxonMobil. Unbelievable. While so many, and I have no problem whatsoever in, I think the world of capitalism, but it's got to be fair. And it hasn't been fair for so long, it's unreal. In fact, I could argue that it hadn't been fair for at least nearly 100 years. So, there's that. Brazilian president, I don't know how to say that, Jair Bolsonaro, censored by Facebook and YouTube again as he falsely links COVID jabs to AIDS. I don't know how his first name's said. I've only heard his last name. Moldova signs contract with Poland for trial purchase of gas ahead of crunch negotiations. Pardon me. With Russian energy giant Gazprom. Australian government sued over global warming by indigenous Torres Strait Islanders on frontline of climate crisis. Margaret Thatcher is at fault for Glasgow's rat and rubbish issues, according to ridiculed SNP's council leader. Why not? Blame her. Moscow's relationship with NATO can't be described as catastrophic because it simply doesn't exist at all, says Russian FM Lavrov. Let's see. Still waiting for answers. China says Asia-Pacific nations are losing trust in U.S. as Washington stays quiet on the nuclear sub-crash. And you may have forgotten, but yeah, we had a submarine run into something over there in the Asia-Pacific Sea or whatever. And the U.S. mentioned something about it, but wouldn't give any details on it. And I think that there's something that China knows, and we know they know, everybody knows, and it's probably something that's a little bit embarrassing for Washington, and that's probably why it's being played out like this. Because I'm telling you, if you pay attention to what's going down in an international diplomatic way, China has been trolling the U.S. here lately. Like, I mean that. Literally trolling the U.S. Which I think, honestly, speaks volumes if you understand the Chinese culture. That's a big part of that. So, I'm telling you, I think something's up. Let's see. Cardboard asparagus, fake sandwiches, British media accused of shit-stirring over reports of food-free supermarket shelves. And they tried playing it off that, from my understanding, I didn't really dig deep, but they tried playing it off of, oh yeah, stores have been doing that. Have you went to the store and seen, like cardboard cardboard boxes or whatever with pictures of food on it, you know what I mean? Is that something you've seen? I haven't. I worked at a Walmart once. I don't ever remember doing anything remotely like that, ever. Now, there was a lot of people that ran with the conspiracies with the shortages, talking about how they pull all the goods to the front to make it look like they're... No, they do that. That's called facing. That's something that they do. We did it every night. Not a big deal. And it's not... It's for convenience, and yes, it's also to make people think that there's more. For some reason, when people see, a lot of something, they're more inclined to buy it for whatever reason. So that's why stores like that, they stock stuff like that. They stock it so many deep, so many wide on particular products because people, it's an impulse thing. People will be more likely to grab it. Believe me, there's a whole... They spend billions, literally billions of dollars on psychology for marketing. But anyway, they were trying to pass this off as being the norm, and I don't believe it's the norm. U.S. sanctions no longer working with Bitcoin in place, says Kaiser Report. Apple threatened to pull Facebook and Instagram from the App Store over abuse of maids in the Mid-East. Well, I can't say it. Leaked papers reveal. Let's see. EU energy ministers debate gas strategy as spiking energy prices weigh on European economies. Prince Andrew must answer questions in civil sexual assault case filed by Epstein accuser Guthrie by July 14th, a U.S. judge rules. $31 million seized after Europe and U.S. detain 150 suspects in joint investigation into darknet trading of drugs and weapons. Darknet. Russia to spend $1.3 trillion on transition to environmentally friendly, wow, I can't speak now, energy sources over 28 years. The deputy PM ahead of COP26 says, or something. Japan's Princess Mako gives royal status to marry commoner following 4 scandal-filled years of engagement, which gave her PTSD. Alrighty then. Zuckerberg claims Facebook is victim of coordinated media effort to tarnish its image with leaked documents. Really? Okay, dude. Armed man reportedly entered the Axion telecommunication company in Paris suburb. Police op underway. Let's see. Animal rebellion activists scale government building in London demanding UK defund meat. Sudanese General al-Burhan confirms ousted PM is being kept at his own house for his safety after military detained politicians. Vaccine skepticism, and rise of new COVID-19 variant have dashed Russia's hopes of coronavirus herd immunity, says a top Moscow scientist. We're in a global supply chain pandemic that could be as severe as COVID, Professor Quelch tells Boom Bust. A Russian anti-terror unit launches dramatic raid on container ship after vessel boarded by armed pirates off coast of Africa. Senior Russian envoy encourages EU to speed up reopening of diplomatic mission in Afghanistan. Sturgeon slammed for vowing fastest possible transition from fossil fuels after basing Scottish independence pitch on oil money. America's battle lines against Russia are being drawn in the icy Arctic. Stuck in the middle, Norway is now NATO's nuclear shield. Big tech can and will censor everyone. YouTube temporarily deletes prominent leftist news channel Novara Media, triggering outcry. Climate activists detained after disrupting summit to accuse French government of championing fossil fuel finance. Blast on board bus in Uganda was suicide bomb attack by ISIL-affiliated group, police say. You have a sip of coffee. Not in a huge hurry. Yeah, this is interesting here. Gas stations close across Iran after cyber attack reportedly disrupts country's smart fuel system. I think I would rather have dumb fuel systems. You flip the switch, you hold the pump. Not anymore. Brazilian senators ask High Court to ban President Bolsonaro from social media after bogus claims COVID shots are linked to AIDS. And YouTube, I'm just reading the news. UK PM Johnson backs better relations with Russia in call with Putin, urging Moscow to bring forward new climate change targets. Plan B vaccine passports could fuel COVID-19, pushing Brits into poorly ventilated smaller venues, a leaked government report warns. Israeli ministers in war of words over problematic move to brand Palestinian NGOs as terror organizations, says reports. Biden losing Democrats and independents alike with poor post-pandemic economy recovery, says a poll. I mean, it's like every day we're talking about another poll about the dissatisfaction. It's telling. 21 Iraqis on their way to the UK detained by German police after crossing border illegally from Poland. 2 dead after devastating storm causes flash floods in southern Italy, turning city streets into rivers. Flights to and from Khartoum suspended in wake of military coup. 3 Sudanese ambassadors in Europe defect. Queen Elizabeth will not attend COP26 summit reception after medical advice to rest, says Buckingham Palace. Sorry, my ear was itching. So, what I find extremely interesting with this is there are a whole lot of high-level folks that are not going. And most of them, to my knowledge, are going to send people, but the major player themselves are sticking at home. And I don't know. That's just something that makes a note in my mind. I talked about this earlier. Loudoun County boy in a skirt found guilty of girls' bathroom sex assault after school board's actions trigger walkouts. So I talked about that earlier. Let's see. Nord Stream 2 does not endanger security of EU gas supply, German government tells the regulator, urging pipeline certification. Official mascot of COP26, Bonnie the Seal, decried as giant rat dressed in pricey taxpayer-funded outfit. Probably pretty accurate. Viral video shows church altar brawl after unmasked man accused of trespassing confronts parish priest in Washington state. It's crazy. Last day of 16-year job, Merkel relieved of duties, rule praised as one of the greatest periods in Germany's modern history. I kind of wonder what is to come now. She had made a comment, something to the effect of, well, and I'm completely paraphrasing here, but more or less, I'll just break it down simple terms, saying the next person might not be as nice as her. So, and I would concur. I would agree. I don't think the next person, and I'm not saying she was nice. Let me make that clear. I'm not saying she was nice, but I do think that the next person is going to be much more of a hardliner. Just my thoughts. Let's see. We'll take back the gold, then Crimea. Ukrainian president threatens after Dutch court hands Hall of Ancient Artifacts to Kiev. MI5 officer admits investigation of Manchester arena bomber could have prevented attack but required a high-priority operation. FDA advisors review Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for kids, and I did a video on that earlier. A YouTube competitor Rumble acquires subscription-based platform Locals in free speech-focused expansion bid. Rioters, looters, or arsonists, prosecution can't refer to people Kyle Rittenhouse shot as victims, a judge rules. That is a major, major victory for Kyle Rittenhouse. So, I mean, it's starting to look a little better for the outcome of this. I mean, 'cause, come on, let's be real. Anybody with any common sense, in my opinion, can see what that was. Plain and simple. Washington strongly opposes West Bank settlement expansion as Israel moves forward with thousands of new homes. And, don't think Trump was very pleased with this stuff either, as I recall. A U.S. Army not ready to fight, but nothing's ever done. Sorry, let me back up. Nothing's ever done. Nothing is ever done, How about we start with stop giving them money? Money that could be much better used here at home, fixing problems. But yet, we're giving away huge sums of money to replace missiles in an Iron Dome system because they keep doing this very thing to individuals and the people that are losing the land, that are losing their home. Let's be clear, the people that are losing their homes, okay, are upset because their land's being stolen from them. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. That's what's happening. And so they're resisting, and as a result, now you know what happens. And I think that anybody with any decency is against genocide, because let's not make any mistake of what this is. It's ridiculous what it is. Sorry. I will speak to that anytime. Man, I don't see anywhere in that good book where it says that that's what's supposed to be done. I don't see anywhere in there at all. And also, no, I won't go there. U.S. Army not ready to fight tonight, internal survey suggests, as Pentagon insists everything is fine. So they polled a bunch of military members, and there were a lot of people that said that they don't honestly think that they could be ready that quick. So George Soros backs liberal media company with mission to counter fake news and promote good information. So see, we don't need to worry about media anymore. I don't have to worry about doing this show anymore or anything like that, because George Soros has it taken care of, and he's going to pump a bunch of money so that you can get some good information. I hope you feel better knowing that. Insane. So anyway, that's the headlines. I don't have any more for you. Hang on. I think the ride is going to continue to get very interesting, and I don't think it's going to take a long time to get there. And never let people discourage you on your journey. I think if somebody wants to be critical over something, I think it's probably the willing lack of knowledge is probably the worst thing that somebody could do, especially in the prepping world. You have to have an understanding about the things that you're doing. You really do. And there's no excuse as to why not to have a basic level of understanding of different things that are going to directly affect how you live post-SHTF. And if that means reading a manual, whatever, watching a million YouTube videos until you understand it, so be it. But if you're a prepper that just clicks add to cart because you can, and don't do the actual work, it reminds me of my very favorite verses in the Bible. Hosea 4:6. Because I mean, it says it all. Hang on. I hate trying to do stuff verbatim because I will get it wrong. Promise. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because thou hast rejected knowledge. That's not the whole thing. Hang on, sorry. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten thy law of thy God. I will also forget thy children. Oh, I didn't bring it up in the window, sorry. Interesting. Don't let folks discourage you. Learn what you can. Learn how to best deal with your particular situation. And do your thing. But I'm telling you, when it comes to the whole population density thing, that's a hell of a thing to overcome. That's a hell of a challenge to overcome. There are not really a lot of good answers there. Because even if you have a group, even if you have a mag, let's say you've got a mag that's got 400 people in it. And that's a fairly good sized mag, right? So let's say you've got a mag, because it's a large city. Let's say you've got a mag of 400 people in it. How many people are in New York City? I have no idea. Not even remotely. NYC population 2021. 8.82 million. So you're 400 people. Good luck. Good luck. Yeah, population density is a thing. And don't kid yourself. If you're somebody that lives somewhere where there's a lot of it, my advice to you is have a way to stay completely hidden. Like I've said all along. If you live in a city, in a place to where you won't remotely be safe, you damn well have a place to go where nobody will find you. Period. And have all the supplies that you need to stay there. You let all the craziness go on without you. Then you can worry about what to do from there after the dust settles. But that's your only way if you live in a major city like that. It's your only way. And I don't live in a major city, not even remotely. But we most certainly have an out. Most certainly. But, I don't know that it's going to have to come to that. Population density is a huge reason for that. Now, on many prepper standards where we live, has a lot higher population density than they would like to see. But again, there's a unique situation here. And that involves, the type of people that live around here. That involves the type of resources that are here. And so the whole, pro-con thing, the pros weighs in pretty good. But, again, we all have our own particular situation. And if you live in a high population density area and you've got a place to go where you know you won't be bothered for however long it takes for the dust to settle, and you've got the supplies to be able to do that, hell yeah, right on. Right on. But I suspect that many city dwellers don't have that. So, then there's the whole thing of not a whole lot of places to plant a substantial amount of food in the city. Now, on top of that, still going to likely be a higher density of population there even after the dust settles. And you're probably still going to have more likelihood of, things like your food getting stolen out of your garden or your fields or whatever. All kinds of stuff. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to get the heck out of here and relax for the rest of the evening. I got to get trash out. So, got to take myself out. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. And hope you have a good night. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.